Hello, this is Whispers in the Rain. Welcome to tonight's scary story reading. One to keep you company as the storm rolls in. Comment where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Let the rain drown the noise of the outside world and let the darkness take over from here. Drop of Blood story title, The Thing in the Drain. I've always had a weird fear of drains. Not in the, it might clog and flood the bathroom kind of way. I mean a real, bone-deep discomfort with them. As a kid, I used to plug the bathtub drain with rubber stoppers, even when the tub was empty. My mom chalked it up to too many scary movies, but it was more than that. It felt like something was watching through them. I moved into my first solo apartment last month. It's nothing special, just a basement unit with low ceilings and an outdated kitchen, but it was cheap and quiet. I didn't even think about the drains until my second night there. I was brushing my teeth when I heard it. A gurgle, deep and wet, like something shifting inside the pipes. I spat into the sink and froze, staring down into the dark metal throat of the drain. The water spiraled away slowly, hesitating just a second too long before disappearing. I could have sworn I saw something glinting down there, like an eye-catching light. I told myself it was late. I was tired. Weird acoustics. But the unease clung to me as I went to bed, like the feeling you get when someone's behind you, just out of sight. That night, I had a dream. I was in the shower, steam fogging up the glass, and I felt something brushing my ankle. I looked down, expecting a drop towel or a clump of hair, but there was a hand, gray and bloated, reaching up from the drain, fingers twitching like they were feeling for something. I jolted awake with my sheets tangled around my legs, drenched in sweat. I laughed it off. Stress dream. Happens. Except when I got up and walked into the bathroom, I noticed something odd. The shower drain cover was off, just sitting beside the hole, like someone had removed it during the night. I hadn't touched it. No reason to. I'd only used the tub once so far, and I knew I hadn't messed with the cover. I tried to ignore the rising panic and screwed it back in place. For a few days, nothing happened. Then it started again. Low gurgles, bubbling, the faintest scratching sounds when everything else was silent. I called maintenance, and the guy came by with a wrench and a plunger. He fiddled with the pipes and said it was just air bubbles or maybe tree roots pressing on the line. But he paused before he left and said, we've had weird reports from this unit before. People complain about sounds. One guy even said something was crawling through the plumbing. He chuckled. Probably just rats. Happens in old buildings. But that didn't make me feel better, especially when, later that night, I found long, wet smears on the floor leading from the shower to the door, like something had climbed out. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in bed with the bathroom light on, listening. Every time I thought about getting up to check, I remembered the smears on the tile. They'd been faint, but not imaginary. I ran my fingers along one and felt the slickness. It wasn't just water, it was slime almost. And the smell. That faint, coppery, musty smell like something rotting in the walls. By morning, it had dried. There was no trace of it. I even scrubbed the floor with bleach, just in case. I didn't want to give it, whatever it was, any reason to come back. The days started blending together. The sound became more frequent. Little clicks, like nails tapping metal. Once I swore I heard a whisper, soft and liquid, like a voice bubbling through water. I'd leave the bathroom door closed, but that didn't help. Sometimes I'd wake up to find the door open again. I stopped using the shower. I'd drive to the gym to clean up. I couldn't bring myself to step in there. Every time I looked down at the drain, I saw it as a black mouth. Waiting, breathing. I considered moving out, but I'd signed a lease, and the rent was all I could afford. My friends thought I was spiraling. I barely ate. I lost weight. I stopped inviting people over. I became obsessed with watching the drains, bathroom, kitchen, even the tiny one in the laundry area. Then last Thursday, I made a mistake. I fell asleep on the couch, half a beer still in my hand. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of water trickling. Not a faucet, not rain. It was coming from the bathroom again. This time, I forced myself up. I crept down a short hallway and pushed the door open. The lights flickered. Water was pooling on the floor, slowly leaking from the shower drain, which had somehow unscrewed itself again. The water was dark brownish black, and thick. It looked like something had been dragged through it. And sitting in the middle of the wet tile, right beside the drain, was a tooth. Human. Yellowed. Cracked at the root. I didn't touch it. I just backed out and shut the door. I heard a slurp behind me, like something being pulled back down a throat. The next morning, the floor was dry. The tooth was gone. I almost convinced myself I'd hallucinated it, until I checked my phone. There was a video. Somehow, my phone had recorded a clip around 3:04 a.m. The angle was weird. It must have slipped between the cushions, but the audio was clear. Water, sloshing, then a low growl, almost like a cough, followed by heavy, wet footsteps, and something breathing, guttural, ragged, and very close to the mic. Then the sound of my bathroom door creaking open. I haven't listened to it again. I left the apartment that morning. No soe. Nobody act fussed. Just grabbed my keys and went straight to a diner across town. I sat in a booth by the window, clutching my coffee like it was the only thing anchoring me to reality. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't exactly go to the police and say, "There's something in my pipes." They'd laugh me out of the station, or worse, commit me. I pulled out my phone and opened the video again, hesitating before pressing play. The screen stayed dark, showing just the couch cushions and my leg. I could hear my own snoring, soft and distant. Then the water started trickling, the gurgling, then the footsteps, wet, heavy, slow, like someone dragging a limp body behind them. You could hear it squish and slap with every step. Then came the breathing, right next to the phone. I paused it there. I didn't want to hear the rest again. I looked around the diner. Everything felt so normal. Kids whining over pancakes, the buzz of fluorescent lights, the smell of grease and syrup. How could something so wrong be happening in a world that looked so safe? I decided I wasn't going back there alone. I called my friend Carter. He's one of those no-nonsense types. Works in HVAC, good with tools, not easily spooked. When I told him what was happening, he didn't laugh. He just said, "You want me to come look?" We met back at the apartment an hour later. He brought a flashlight and one of those snaking drain cameras he uses for inspections. "Let's start with the bathroom," he said. "That's where the action is, right?" I nodded. My mouth was too dry to speak. He unscrewed the drain cover and shined a flashlight down. "Looks normal so far. A little gunk, but nothing weird." He fed the camera in. I watched the screen over his shoulder. At first it was just dark pipe, wet metal, some grime, a few clumps of hair. Then we saw it. Something moved, just for a second. A flicker of pale skin, too smooth to be a rat. Something rounded and large. It slipped past the camera and vanished deeper into the pipe fast. Carter swore and yanked the camera out. What the hell was that? That thing was big. Too big. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. "I've never seen anything like that," he muttered. "Whatever it is, it's alive. That's not a clog. That's not a pipe issue." We stood there in silence. Then he looked at me, serious. "Man, I don't think you should be staying here." "I can't leave," I whispered. "It's in all the drains. It's watching." He didn't argue. Instead, he went to check the kitchen sink. I wish he hadn't, because he leaned down, opened the cupboard below, and within seconds, something lunged out of the darkness and bit him. Carter screamed, a raw, animal sound that froze my blood. He stumbled back from the sink, clutching his hand. Blood poured between his fingers, thick and red. I rushed to him, grabbing a dish towel and wrapping it around the wound. "What was it?" I shouted. "What happened?" "I don't know, man. It bit me." He gasped, pale and shaking. "Teeth. Too many teeth." I helped him to the couch and dialed 911. The dispatcher kept asking what had happened, but I didn't have a real answer. "There's an animal in the pipes," I finally said. "It bit my friend. He needs help." An ambulance came fast. The EMTs asked Carter a lot of questions, but he just kept repeating, "It came out of the drain." They gave me side eyes like they thought we were on something, but they wrapped his hand and loaded him into the back. I wasn't allowed to ride with him, so I stood in the doorway, feeling more alone than ever. I knew I couldn't stay there that night. I packed a bag and booked a room at a crappy roadside motel. As I locked the apartment door, I felt something shift in the air behind me, like the building itself exhaled. Like whatever was down there knew I was leaving. I didn't sleep at the motel either. Around 2:30 a.m., I heard water running in the bathroom. My heart nearly stopped. I hadn't even used the sink or the tub. I crept over and pushed the door open slowly. The faucet was dry, but the bathtub drain, that metal circle I'd learned to fear, was wet. Just a thin ring of moisture, but it hadn't been there earlier. And I could smell it again. That metallic, decayed stink, faint but present, like rust and rot mixed with something alive. I left the bathroom door open that night, light on, watching it from the bed. I couldn't shake the feeling that it followed me, that it could move between drains, through any system of pipes it wanted. The next morning, I checked my phone and found another video. This time, I hadn't been asleep. The recording started while I was in the bathroom, staring at the drain. There was no movement, but in the background, I could hear something whispering. Faint, garbled, gurgling syllables like language through water. I couldn't make out the words, but I recognized the cadence. It was trying to speak. I took the phone to Carter the next day. He was still in the hospital, heavily bandaged. They said he had deep puncture wounds and some sort of infection spreading fast, like sepsis. But the weird part was there was no sign of what bit him. No venom, no animal trace, just raw tissue damage and rot. I played the audio for him. He turned pale. It said my name, he whispered. What? I swear to God, it said my name. Listen again. I did. Slowed the audio, boosted the volume, and there it was, bubbled through static, hidden in the hiss of draining water. Carter, I didn't go back to the apartment after that. I called the landlord and said I was breaking the lease. Didn't offer an explanation. Just said there was a problem with the plumbing and I feared for my safety. He sounded annoyed, but not surprised. You're not the first tenant to say that, he muttered before hanging up. That one sentence haunted me. I checked public records. The building was old, 1950s construction, multiple owners over the decades. But I found something strange. In the last 6 years, Unit B1, my unit, had seen 7 different tenants. Most stayed less than 6 months. One lasted only 2 weeks. There were no police reports or legal filings, but there were a few online reviews buried deep on obscure forums. The noises don't stop. They come through the walls, through the sink. I found teeth in the bathtub. Human teeth. Whatever it is, it talks. It knows things. It called my name. That last one made me feel sick. I clicked the user profile. It was deactivated. No other posts. I started wondering how long this had been going on. How many people had left and never said anything? Maybe they didn't want to sound crazy. Maybe they couldn't explain it. I tried reaching out to a plumber I found in the neighborhood with high ratings. His name was Ray. I didn't give him all the details, just said I wanted someone to inspect a weird drainage issue in an old unit. He agreed, curious more than anything. When we arrived at the apartment, it felt colder, like something inside had changed. I hadn't been gone long, but there was a dampness in the air, and the smell, wet metal and earth, was stronger. Ray got to work. He was methodical, cracking jokes, brushing off the atmosphere. He opened a shower drain and fed in his own camera, this one more advanced than Carter's. Let's see what we've got, he muttered, watching the live feed on his tablet. At first, just pipe, then more pipe, then something moved. Ray leaned in. What the hell? On the screen, a shape. Round. Pale. It pulsed slightly, like it was breathing. The camera got closer and revealed a face. But not a human face. It had no eyes. Just stretched, gray skin. A vertical slit for a mouth, lined with small, rotating teeth like a lamprey. It opened slowly, revealing a second mouth inside. Then a third. Ray yanked the camera out so fast the cable snapped. What the fuck was that? He yelled, stumbling back. That's not a rat. That's not anything I've ever seen. We stood there, frozen, staring at the black hole in the shower floor. And then it spoke. Clearer this time. Not from the drain, but from everywhere. Through the walls, the pipes, the floor beneath our feet. You shouldn't have come back. Ray ran. I followed. I didn't even lock the door. I stayed at a friend's place after that. Didn't matter. The first night, their kitchen sink started dripping on its own. When I went to tighten the faucet, I saw something clinging to the underside of the drain. A slimy film, almost like skin. I scrubbed it until my hands were raw. The next day, their toilet began bubbling. At 3:12 a.m. sharp, I heard it again. That watery whisper, faint but unmistakable. You brought me. I didn't sleep. I sat with my knees to my chest, staring at the bathroom door, afraid it would swing open on its own like it had back in the apartment. I realized then, this thing, whatever it is, it wasn't stuck in my old unit. It traveled. Through plumbing. Through walls. Maybe even through the water itself. Pipes connect everything. Every house, every building. I began seeing it out of the corner of my eye. Reflections in puddles. A ripple in a glass of water. A faint movement in the mirror when I brush my teeth. My friend asked me to leave after 2 days. You're not sleeping, man. You're scaring my kids. I didn't blame him. I checked in at another cheap motel. The water pressure was awful. The sink yellowed with old stains, but it was mine and I didn't use it. I brushed my teeth with bottled water. I kept the towel stuffed in the drain. I covered the tub with a heavy suitcase. Still it came. One night, I woke to find the bathroom faucet running. I swore I hadn't touched it. I crept over and turned it off. When I looked down, the drain had a message scratched into the porcelain just below it. You can't unplug me. I scrubbed it, but the scratches remained, etched deep like claw marks. I visited Carter in the hospital again. He looked worse. His wound hadn't healed. It had spread. The skin on his arm had gone waxy, almost translucent. He whispered something when he saw me. They're not drains, he said, barely audible. They're mouths. That night he crashed. His vitals dropped. They moved him to the ICU. I was losing my mind. I stopped drinking anything but bottled water. I used public bathrooms only when desperate. I stopped showering entirely. The whispers got louder. They started saying my name. I searched online forums for anything like this. I found a post, dated over 10 years ago, about a woman in another city who described her son being taken through the bathtub. She said the water screamed. That post had no replies. Her account was deleted. I don't think I'm the only one. I think it's always been here. In the plumbing. In the pipes. Watching. Waiting. It's not in a place. It's in every place. And now it knows who I am. I think it's learning. That's the part that scares me most. This thing, this presence, it doesn't just lurk anymore, it mimics. The whispers I hear now are clearer. It says full sentences. It laughs. Sometimes it sounds like Carter. Other times, like my mother, even though she's been dead for years. It used to only come through drains. But now I hear it in pipes, in radiators, in the low hum of the fridge. Like it's moving through the wiring or the walls themselves. 3 nights ago, I saw something that broke me. I was staying at a 24-hour laundromat downtown. Yeah, staying. I had nowhere else to go. I found a corner behind a row of dryers where no one bothered me. It was quiet, and there were no bathrooms nearby. Just the floor drains. I sat on the tile, drinking warm coffee, when I heard a wet clatter. I peeked over the row of machines, and, on the far side, a washing machine door was open. Water pooled at its base, black and foul-smelling. And something was crawling out. It was long and pale, with limbs too thin to support it. No eyes. The same lipless mouth I'd seen on the drain cam, layered with rotating teeth. It dragged itself partway out, dripping and twitching. And then it spoke. Not a whisper. Not a gargle. Let me in. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just sat there, paralyzed, until it slithered back into the machine and disappeared. The water drained slowly, leaving nothing behind but the smell. I left the laundromat at dawn, shivering. My clothes soaked in sweat. I haven't told anyone. Who would believe me? The only place I feel safe now is outside. Open air, far from any buildings or plumbing. I sleep in parks. I avoid restrooms. I don't stay anywhere more than a few hours. But I know I can't run forever. It leaves messages now. Condensation spelling words on bus windows. Murky shapes forming in puddles. The last one said, "Where will you go when it rains?" Because rain, of course, becomes runoff. Runoff enters the sewer. The sewer connects everything. I've had to accept a hard truth. This thing isn't after just me. I'm not cursed or special. I just noticed it. I looked into the dark too long. And now it's looking back. The thing in the drain is real. And it's everywhere. Tonight, it rained. I tried hiding under a pedestrian bridge, but the runoff trickled in, dark and slow, creeping toward me like fingers. Now I'm in a gas station bathroom, door locked, feet on the sink. Every drain is covered, but I can hear it again, gurgling, whispering, waiting. I know what it wants. If you're reading this, listen carefully. Don't trust your drains. Don't ignore the sounds. Don't let the water touch you. And whatever you do, never answer when it calls your name. Drop of Blood Story 2. The reflection that wasn't me. I never paid much attention to mirrors until the night I saw myself blink after I'd already turned away. It was a Tuesday around 2 a.m. I just finished brushing my teeth, half asleep, bleary-eyed. I rinsed my mouth, glanced at the mirror, then flicked off the light and turned to leave the bathroom. That's when I caught it. A flash of movement behind me. I turned the light back on and stared into the mirror. My reflection stared back, wide-eyed and still. Nothing out of the ordinary. Maybe just a trick of the light or a twitch I didn't register. I told myself I was tired and paranoid, but something about it lingered. The next night, I paid more attention, stared at myself longer, dared the mirror to do something weird again. It didn't. Not right away. But when I raised my toothbrush to my mouth, my reflection hesitated, just for a fraction of a second. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but it was enough. My arm moved. His didn't. I dropped the toothbrush. My reflection caught up instantly, mimicking the motion of bending down to pick it up, but it was too late. I'd seen the delay. I stood up slowly, staring into my own eyes. What the hell? I must have stood there 5 minutes, watching myself breathe, watching for anything off, but everything else looked normal. My mind scrambled for answers. Maybe my brain was lagging. Maybe I developed some weird dissociation. I went to bed unsettled. Then the dreams started. In them, I'd be standing in front of the mirror again, but my reflection wouldn't move at all. I'd wave, blink, speak, and it would just stare, unmoving, unblinking. But slowly, it would start to smile. Wide, crooked, wrong. I woke in a sweat every time. By the fourth night, I couldn't sleep. I kept the bathroom light on and the mirror covered with a towel. It helped for a while, until I came home one evening to find the towel on the floor. The bathroom door was shut, even though I never closed it. Inside, the lights were off, and written in fog across the mirror, in long, smeared strokes, were 3 words. I'm still here. I stood frozen in the hallway, staring at that foggy message. I'm still here. The words slowly faded as the cool air settled in the bathroom, as if something had just left. I hadn't showered. There was no reason for the mirror to be fogged at all. I backed away and slept on the couch that night with every light in the apartment on. I didn't go near the bathroom. The next morning, I forced myself to investigate. The mirror was clear, spotless. No sign of writing. I half expected to find some rational explanation. Pipes leaking steam, maybe, but there was no dampness. Everything was bone dry. Still, I removed the mirror from the wall, just unscrewed it and tucked it in the hall closet, face down. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. That night, as I walked past the closet to grab laundry, I heard a tap from inside. Just one, then silence. I held my breath and leaned close. Talp! This time it was faster, more deliberate, like a finger against glass. I backed away, heart pounding. I didn't open the door. I couldn't. Over the next few days, the tapping continued. Sometimes I'd hear it while brushing my teeth at the kitchen sink. Sometimes at night, from behind the closet door. Never regular. Never predictable. It was like it was waiting for me to respond. Then things escalated. It was Saturday morning when I caught my reflection where it shouldn't have been. I was walking past a window in the living room. Glass dark, no real reflection. But I saw it. Him, standing behind me. I turned fast. Nothing there. When I looked back, the window was empty. Just the dull reflection of the room. But I'd seen it. My own face just over my shoulder, smiling again. That same crooked, unnatural smile from my dreams. I called my friend Megan that afternoon. She's into spiritual stuff, crystals, energy cleansing, the works. I didn't know who else to talk to. She didn't laugh. Instead, she said, cover every reflective surface and don't look into any mirror alone, not even accidentally. She came over with bundles of sage and chanted things I didn't understand. We draped towels and sheets over the windows, the oven, even the black screen of my TV. I felt better, safer. But that night, as I passed by the hallway closet, I heard it again. Top, top, top. And this time a voice. Low, familiar, almost mine. Let me out. I didn't open the closet. Not that night. Not the next day. I even wedged a chair under the knob like I was some cliché in a horror movie. But nothing about this felt like fiction anymore. I couldn't shake the voice. Let me out. It wasn't a threat. That was the part that chilled me. It sounded patient, confident, like it knew I eventually would. I spent the next 2 days crashing at Megan's place. She made me sleep on her couch, fed me herbal tea, insisted we keep every mirror in her house covered. They're not just reflections, she said. They're doorways, and some things learn to use them. I laughed at first, but not for long. That night, around 3 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. I flipped on the light, instinctively pulled the towel off the mirror, and there it was. Him. Me. But not. The same slack face. The two wide eyes. The slight curl of a smile that didn't reach my eyes. He didn't mimic me this time. He just stared, unmoving. I covered the mirror again, with shaking hands. Megan found me on the bathroom floor an hour later. I didn't even remember collapsing. She knelt beside me and whispered, "You looked into it, didn't you?" I nodded. She stood up, lips tight. "It's stronger now. We decided to try a ritual, some protective thing involving black salt and obsidian. I wasn't a believer in this stuff, not really. But desperation makes you flexible." We returned to my apartment together that evening. The place felt off, like stale air and static clung to the walls. We laid out a circle of salt in front of the closet. Megan placed the obsidian in the center, muttering under her breath. "I'm going to open it," she said. "No," I said. "You didn't hear it. You don't know what's in there." She looked at me calm. "I don't need to. It's already out." "Istir de here." "What?" She nodded to the mirror above my kitchen sink. There was nothing hanging there. I hadn't put up again, but now it was back. The same mirror. Clean. Centered. Hanging like it had never been moved. My stomach dropped. I walked to the closet. Slowly, I turned the knob, heart hammering. Inside, the mirror I had removed was gone. "Where's the mirror?" I asked, backing away from the empty closet. Megan didn't answer right away. She stood in the kitchen, staring at the reappeared mirror like it might blink. "You didn't put it back?" she finally asked. "No, I haven't even opened that closet until now." We approached the kitchen sink together. The mirror's surface was perfectly clean, no dust, no smudges. It reflected the room behind us, just as it should, except there were no reflections of us. The kitchen was empty in the mirror. No people, no shadows, nothing. Megan whispered, "This is bad, really bad." I turned away. "How do we stop it?" She stared into the void of the mirror for a moment. "You said it started in the bathroom, right? That was the first time it didn't follow your movements." "Yeah, the first delay." She nodded. "That's when it started replacing you." I felt cold all over. "Replacing?" Megan pointed to the mirror. "It doesn't want to copy you. It wants to be you." I backed up. "We have to break it." "No," she snapped. "You never break the glass unless you know what's inside. It could set it free." "So, what?" "We just let it keep showing up in my house." Whispering to me, mimicking me, Megan hesitated. There might be another way. She pulled out her phone and began scrolling. There's this legend, old superstition. If a reflection starts acting independently, you can trap it, seal it in a mirror. But the trick is, you have to trick it into mimicking you exactly. Word for word, move for move. I shook my head. That's impossible. It's already outsmarted me. But it wants to be you. That's the weakness. We devised a plan. That night, we uncovered the bathroom mirror. Yes, the original one had returned again, mounted like it never left. And I stood before it. The reflection was already there, waiting. I moved. It mimicked me. I raised my right hand. It mirrored me, not reversed, another wrong detail. The true me was right-handed. It lifted its left. It smiled. I spoke. "You want to be me?" It nodded. "Then follow exactly." I started a pattern. Movements. Words. Nonsense phrases. Complex gestures. The reflection kept up at first. Then it stumbled. It blinked too late. It mouthed the wrong word. I took a deep breath and shouted, "Now." Megan slammed a second mirror against the first. The two reflective surfaces collided. and something inside the mirror screamed. The scream wasn't human. It echoed through the bathroom, high-pitched and wet, like metal grinding underwater. The two mirrors cracked on impact, shattering into a spiderweb of broken lines, but they didn't fall. They just froze, fused in place, humming with heat. Megan stumbled back, eyes wide. "Did it work?" she whispered. I couldn't answer. My ears were ringing. The lights in the bathroom flickered violently, the air buzzing with static. Then, sudden stillness. The reflection was gone. The mirror, both mirrors, now fused, showed only me. Just me. I didn't smile. I didn't blink. I stood perfectly still, waiting for even the slightest delay. But the reflection held true. We exhaled at the same time. Megan sat on the closed toilet lid, head in her hands. I think we trapped it, or banished it, or something. I didn't feel relief. I felt watched, like it wasn't over yet. Later that night, I tried to sleep, but the image of the mirror's cracks haunted me. The web lines had formed something, a shape, a figure. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was still there, just dormant. I stayed off social media. I stopped taking selfies. I avoided windows, screens, dark glass. But then strange things started happening again. My phone would open the camera app on its own, always front-facing, always angled just so, like someone was looking through it. I unplugged my laptop, covered the screen with tape. The apartment remained quiet, but it felt different, off balance, like the thing had infected the reflections themselves. Like any surface with a hint of shine might suddenly become a door again. A week later, Megan called in a panic. I was brushing my teeth, she said, and my mirror, it smiled at me first. I froze. It didn't move like me, she whispered. It knew. I drove over immediately. Her mirror looked normal. Just her reflection. But she wouldn't go near it again. I think it's copying me now, she said. Like it's jumping mirrors. We realized something terrifying. We didn't trap it. We spread it. Every mirror that witnessed that fusion, every reflective surface in the apartment, maybe even in the area, might have become a conduit. We looked into the kitchen sink mirror again. It reflected us perfectly. But in the corner of the image, where no one stood, something dark was smiling. After that night, we started seeing it everywhere. Shiny surfaces, elevator doors, car windows, even puddles on the street. We'd catch glimpses just for a second, a shape watching us, motionless, while we moved. One time, Megan screamed in a parking lot. I rushed over and found her staring into a store window. "Look," she said, voice shaking. There were 4 of us reflected. Me, Megan, a couple passing by behind us. But in the reflection, there was a 5th person, standing between us. No face, just a smear of a head and a grin that seemed etched in a glass. When we turned around, nothing there. We ran. We started covering mirrors wherever we went. Megan bought mirrored sunglasses, but wore them inward so no reflection could escape. It didn't help. One evening, I got home and found my bathroom mirror completely clean. Not cracked, not dusty, like it had been reset. And in the middle of it was a handprint. Perfect, human-sized, pressed from the inside. I called Megan in a panic. "It's not just mimicking anymore," I told her. "It's breaking through." She didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, I think it already did." I didn't understand what she meant until I heard someone knock on my door. 3 slow knocks. I didn't answer. Another 3. I looked through the peephole and nearly collapsed. It was me, standing there. Same clothes, same posture, same expression, except the eyes. The eyes were all wrong. Hollow, not dead, empty, as if whoever was inside was just wearing me like a costume. I backed away from the door. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A message. "Let me in." I turned off the phone and threw it in the freezer. That night, Megan came over. We barricaded the apartment, covered everything reflective. Not just mirrors, TVs, phones, even faucets. The apartment looked like a haunted museum, but at least we felt safe. For a while, until we caught a glimpse of the hallway mirror again. Not directly, just a sliver of it. And in that narrow angle, we saw the 2 of us sitting on the couch. Just like we were, but behind us was a 3rd figure. Leaning in, its head tilted, its mouth wide, its eyes black. That was when we knew it was no longer waiting behind glass. It was here. We ripped down the hallway mirror and shattered it with a hammer. Glass exploded in all directions. Megan cut her hand. I didn't care. I wanted it gone. But even as the shards scattered, I saw it in each tiny fragment. That face grinning in every angle. That night, the lights began flickering. We turned off every screen, covered the microwave, unplugged the fridge. Nothing reflective. We tried to live in shadows. And still, we'd see flashes of ourselves doing things we hadn't done. I'd blink, and in the window pane across the room, I'd see my reflection standing still, smiling. Megan would yawn, then realize her reflection was watching her with eyes wide open. It wasn't just trying to mimic us. It was trying to replace us. We decided to leave town, burn everything, destroy every item we owned that could reflect. We packed in silence. Megan kept muttering, "Don't look, don't look." She wouldn't even meet my eyes. Said sometimes they didn't look like mine anymore. The last thing I remember before we left was checking my bedroom one final time. The closet mirror was back, but this time it was covered in writing. Thousands of small, foggy handprints and messages scratched into the surface. The one in the center read, "Now you're mine." I turned and saw myself already standing in the doorway. Same face, same clothes, same scar on my chin, but I knew it wasn't me. Megan screamed. I ran. I don't know what happened to her. I don't even know if I'm real anymore, because when I look into any surface, even this laptop screen, I see someone else staring back. Sometimes smiling, sometimes not, but always watching. I don't cover the mirrors anymore. I know they're all the same now, every one of them. 1,000 versions of me staring back, waiting their turn. I don't know which one escaped. I don't even know if I'm the original anymore. But if you're reading this and you see your reflection hesitate, even for a moment, don't wave, don't smile, don't blink, because that might not be you anymore. And once it takes your place, no one will ever know. Drop of Blood Story 3. The girl who lived in the vent. Ukosafitsa iblidrems. I always hated sleeping at my cousin Jake's place. It wasn't the house itself. It was the vent in the guest room. The room was small, barely big enough for a twin bed and a dresser. But the air vent above the bed was huge. Like too big. Almost 2 feet wide, covered by a metal grate that never seemed fully screwed in. I asked Jake about it the first night I stayed over. He just shrugged. It's old. The house was built in the 60s. That vent's always been weird. That first night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard a faint noise, like breathing. Not mine. Not Jake's. Slower. Deeper. Vet. I chalked it up to my imagination. Until I saw the eye. I woke up around 3 a.m., the room dark except for a sliver of hallway light. I rolled onto my side, facing the wall, and heard something shift, like metal flexing. I turned toward the ceiling, and my blood froze. There was an eye staring through the grate. Large. Pale. Unblinking. I couldn't scream. Couldn't move. I just lay there, locked in its gaze. After a minute, or maybe 5, it blinked. Slowly. Then it disappeared into the darkness beyond the vent. I must have passed out from fear. The next morning, I checked the vent. No sign of tampering. No luces cruz. Jake thought I was making it up. You've been watching too many horror movies. I told myself he was right. But it happened again the next night. This time, I stayed up on purpose. Stared at the vent, waiting. Around 2:47 a.m., I saw fingers wrap around the edge of the grate. Small. Pale. Dirty. They didn't open the grate. They just held it, like she was watching again. I whispered, "Who are you?" The fingers twitched. Then a voice, high and quiet, answered. "I used to live here." I sat up in bed, heart hammering. "What did you say?" I whispered. Silence. The fingers withdrew. The vent darkened again. I leapt out of bed and turned on the light. The grate looked untouched. No ventellis, no fingerprints. Jake came in rubbing his eyes, annoyed. "Dude, seriously? There's someone in the vent." I told him. He rolled his eyes. "Sure there is. You wanted to check for monsters under the bed, too." I didn't push it. What could I say? That I talked to a little girl living in the ductwork? Jake went back to bed. I didn't sleep. The next morning, while he played video games, I grabbed a flashlight and unscrewed the vent myself. What I saw chilled me. The duct behind the grate wasn't like normal air vents. It was wide, deep, like a tunnel. The metal had handprints, small ones, smeared in the dust. I reached in with the flashlight and shined it down the shaft. The beam caught something carved into the metal just before the bend in the tunnel. A single word, Emily. That night, I left a note in the vent. Who are you? I taped it just inside the opening. Then I turned off the lights and lay in bed, watching. Around 3 a.m., I heard the soft scrape of fingers on metal. The note disappeared. She didn't speak that time, but the next morning, I found another note waiting. They forgot me. I stared at the paper for a long time. Who forgot her? What did that mean? I looked up missing persons in the area on my phone. Nothing recent. But then I searched by date, older cases. And I found her. Emily Gaines. Age 9. Vanished from this very neighborhood in 1998. She lived at Jake's address. The article said there were no signs of forced entry. No straged. Her parents just woke up one morning and she was gone. No body. No suspects. Case cold. I kept staring at her photo. Same pale eyes. Same blonde hair. I didn't tell Jake. That night, I slipped another note into the vent. Are you Emily Gaines? No reply came that night. But in the morning, there was a new message waiting for me. It read, yes, he still lives here. I stared at that note for a long time. He still lives here. The words crawled under my skin. I wanted to believe she was confused, that she meant the house still stood, that something had lingered, not someone. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Emily meant a person, someone who had hurt her, someone who had taken her away and was still here, in this house, under this roof. Jake's family had moved in 3 years ago. His parents were always kind to me. I couldn't imagine any of them being involved in something like this. But someone had lived here in 1998. Someone knew what happened to Emily. I wrote another note. Who is he? What did he do to you? This time, the reply came quickly. I woke to find the paper already waiting, tucked neatly back into the vent. It read, he comes at night. Don't sleep. I didn't. I lay in bed, flashlight in hand, staring at the vent. Every creak in the walls made me jump. Around 2:30 a.m., the house fell unnaturally silent. No humming fridge, no traffic outside, just stillness. And then I heard it, a soft click, the bedroom door. I sat bolt upright and shone the flashlight toward the door. It was cracked open an inch. Had I closed it? I thought I had. A shadow passed in the hallway. Slow, deliberate. I stayed frozen, holding my breath, heart pounding in my ears. Then another sound, metal shifting. The vent above my bed rattled faintly. I aimed the light upward. 2 hands gripped the grate again. And then a face appeared. But not Emily. A man's face. Thin, greasy hair, deep-set eyes that didn't blink. I screamed. The face vanished in an instant. Jake came running, confused and half asleep. I told him what I saw. He didn't believe me again. Said I was having night terrors, or maybe sleep paralysis. But I knew what I saw, and so did Emily. The next note came later that morning. He watched you sleep, like he watched me. I didn't know what to do. Who was this man? Was he still hiding in the house? In the walls? In the ducts? Or worse, was he someone Jake and his family knew? I couldn't ask Jake again. He already thought I was losing it. But I started watching everyone in the house more carefully. His dad, his uncle who visited sometimes, even the old man next door. Any one of them could have been here back in 98. That night, I left Emily another note. Where's he hiding? The answer came quickly. He uses the crawl space. I asked Jake about it the next day. You guys have a crawl space? He shrugged. Under the house? Yeah, I guess. I've never been down there. You have to lift the floor panel in the laundry room. Super groß. That night, I waited until everyone was asleep. I snuck into the laundry room and pulled back the old rug. There it was, a square wooden panel with a metal ring. I hesitated. The air down there was thick, warm, and smelled like rot. But I lifted the hatch and aimed my flashlight into the blackness. Dust, cobwebs, old insulation, and bones, tiny bones. I nearly dropped the light. There was a pile of them near the far corner. Small enough to be from a dog, maybe, or I gagged. Then I saw something that made my legs give out. A pair of shoes. Pink. Child-sized. I pulled myself back up, slammed the hatch shut, and covered it with the rug again. I wrote to Emily. "Is that where he took you?" Her reply came later, scrawled messily across a larger sheet of paper. "That's where he kept me. But I got away. I live in events now. I can't leave the house. I'm still hiding from him." Tears welled up in my eyes. She was just a kid. Somehow, she had escaped into the walls. And somehow, she never left. Maybe she died in there. Maybe she still wasn't dead. I didn't understand it. But I knew I had to help her. So I asked, "What can I do?" Her next message came in jagged letters. "You have to make them see him. He still looks like a man. But he's not." I started watching everyone with fresh eyes. The man Emily warned me about could be anyone. And if what she said was true, if he still looked like a man, then he could be hiding in plain sight. Jake's dad? Friendly, always joking. But he worked late nights, and I'd never seen him go into the crawl space. Their neighbor, Mr. Harlan? Retired, quiet, always out in the yard. Lived in the neighborhood for decades. Then there was Jake's uncle, Uncle Ron. He wasn't around often, but when he was, the house felt tense. He didn't talk much, watched everything too closely. The second I remembered that, I knew. One night after dinner, I caught him alone in the hallway, just standing there, staring at the vent above the guest room door. I asked casually, "You okay?" He jumped a little. "Yeah, thought I heard rats." He gave me a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Later that night, I left a note for Emily. "Is it Ron?" The reply was instant, scrawled hastily. "Yes, don't be alone with him." My stomach dropped. I needed proof. Something Jake's parents would believe. Something undeniable. So I waited. 2 nights later, I heard movement in the crawl space again. Quiet scraping, like someone dragging something heavy. I crept out of bed and tiptoed to the laundry room. The floor panel was cracked open. Just a sliver, but enough to hear breathing. I hit record on my phone and slid it close to the opening. What I captured was worse than I imagined. At first, just shuffling. Then a voice. Low, gravelly, whispering. "You can't stay in events forever, little mouse." I backed away, heart in my throat. I barely slept. The next morning, I showed the recording to Jake's mom. Her face drained of color. "That's Ron's voice," she whispered. Police were called. They searched the crawl space. Found a makeshift sleeping area. Stain blankets. Old toys. Teeth. They arrested Ron at his work site that afternoon. When they pulled him in, he said nothing. Just smiled. That night, I left one last note for Emily. "He's gone. You're safe." I didn't expect a reply. But the next morning, I found a final message waiting for me in the vent. "Thank you. I can sleep now." After Ron was arrested, the house felt lighter. Jake's parents offered to take down the vent entirely. I said no. I didn't want anyone disturbing it again. Not now. Not after what Emily had been through. I stayed in the guest room a few more nights, just in case. I half expected to hear more tapping, more whispers. But the vent was silent. No eyes. No hands. No more notes. On my last night there, I left her something. A drawing. Just a simple picture. Me, Jake, and a little girl with a big smile, holding a balloon. I folded it and slid it into the vent. "I won't forget you," I whispered. Then I closed the grate and screwed it in tight. That should have been the end. But last week, months later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name, written in a child's handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of paper. The drawing I'd left, but someone had added to it. Behind the three of us was a tall, dark figure. Long limbs, hollow eyes, standing just outside the frame, watching. At the bottom of the page, one sentence was scrawled in uneven letters. He had a brother. I dropped the paper. Immediately, I called Jake. He was okay. His family was okay. But when I asked about the vent, he paused. "That's the weird part," he said. "A few nights ago, we heard tapping again. Just once. I figure maybe a bird got in or something. Don't ignore it," I told him. He laughed, unsure. "You think Emily's still there?" "No," I said quietly. "I think someone else is." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept looking at the windows, the corners, every vent and grate in my apartment. And around 3 a.m., I heard it. Tall, soft, deliberate, from inside the air duct near my bed. I grabbed a flashlight and shined it toward the sound. Nothing. Then I saw it. A finger, sliding out just for a moment. Thin, male, much larger than Emily's. And etched into the dust beside it was my name. I haven't slept since. Every night now, I hear the tapping. Sometimes it comes from the vents. Sometimes the closet. Sometimes the ceiling. And every time I check, it's always the same, a glimpse of a hand. A whisper I can't quite catch. A shape retreating before I can shine the light. I've sealed the vents, taped the grates, blocked every air return in the apartment. It hasn't helped. The messages started appearing again. Not in notes this time. In condensation on the bathroom mirror. In the frost on the fridge door. Written in dust on my window. I remember you. She was mine. Now you are. I called the police once. Told them someone might be in the walls. They checked. Found nothing. No signs of entry. No crawl space. No proof. But I know he's there. Sometimes I hear his voice in the vents. Whispering things I wish I couldn't understand. About Emily. About me. About how long he's waited. And how I invited him in. Because I did. Didn't I? By helping Emily escape. By shining a light where no one else would. I must have woken something older. Something hungrier. Something that was always watching. Always waiting for a crack in the wall. A loose vent. A curious kid. I tried reaching out to Emily again. I wrote a note and slid it into the smallest gap I could find near the heater. It came back with a single word. Gone. No other message. No sign of her since. I think she's moved on. Found peace. But I haven't. Because he hasn't. I don't think he wants to kill me. I think he wants to keep me. Like he tried with her. Like he did to others. And tonight, I heard something new. It wasn't a whisper. It was breathing. Right behind me. I turned. Nothing there. But in the reflection of the oven door behind me, I saw him. Standing in the hallway. Smiling. I've sealed everything. Taped the windows. Blocked the ducts. Covered every mirror. But I still see him. In reflections that shouldn't exist. In puddles. In my dreams. He's closer now. And sometimes, when I wake up at night, I feel warm air against my face. Like someone is breathing from the vent above my bed. If you ever hear tapping in your walls, don't answer. If you see fingers gripping the edge of a grate, don't speak. And if a voice whispers your name in the dark, run. Drop of Blood Story 4, the radio that said my name. It started with an old radio I found at a garage sale. Vintage wood panel thing with a large tuning dial and chrome knobs. $5. I thought it would look cool on my bookshelf. The guy selling it said, doesn't pick up many stations anymore, but it's got personality. That should have tipped me off. I brought it home, dusted it off, and plugged it in. The light flickered on weakly, casting an amber glow. It buzzed for a few seconds. Then, slowly, a low static-laced voice faded in. I turned the dial. Nothing but static. I adjusted the antenna. The voice came back, clearer this time. A man, calm, monotone, saying random numbers. 38, 21, 17. I thought maybe it was picking up a number station. I'd read about those Cold War relics still broadcasting encoded messages. I left it on as background noise while I did laundry. Later, as I was folding socks, the voice shifted. No more numbers. Now it was just breathing. Not fast or frantic. Just slow, steady inhaling and exhaling. I turned off the radio. Didn't think much of it at the time. But the next night, I woke up at exactly 3:12 a.m. Not because of a sound. Not from a nightmare. I just woke up. I sat up, confused, and realized the radio was on. I hadn't touched it since the day before. It sat there on the bookshelf, glowing softly, crackling with static. Then a voice spoke. Daniel, my name, clear as day. I stared at the radio, heart thudding. It spoke again. Whisper, really? Daniel, we see you. I unplugged the damn thing. The glow faded. The voice stopped. I laughed to myself. Probably some shortwave prank. Old tech picking up weird signals. Maybe some pirate broadcast. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next day, I left the radio unplugged. That night, it turned on anyway. I swear I didn't plug it in. I even checked the wall socket twice. The cord hung limp, draped over the shelf. No power. But the radio glowed. That same amber light. That same low hum. Daniel, it said again, voice softer now. You're listening. I stepped closer. The static sharpened, like it was responding to my movement. I grabbed the cord, yanked it from the wall, even though it wasn't connected, and the light cut off instantly. I didn't sleep that night either. In the morning, I called the guy from the garage sale. His number was on the tag, taped to the bottom. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail, asking where the radio came from. I didn't mention the voices. Not yet. Later that day, I did a little digging online. Tried searching the brand. Roscoe RM25, but nothing came up. Like it never existed. Fulham. Collector boards. Nothing. That night, I wrapped the radio in a towel and shoved it into my closet. But at 3:12 a.m. sharp, the light glowed again from inside the closet. I didn't even hear it turn on. It was just on. I didn't move. Just listened. Breathing again. Then, softly, "Don't look away." I covered my ears, curled into a ball, waited for morning. When the sun rose, I opened the closet. The radio was still wrapped up, still unplugged, but warm to the touch. I left it at the curb, watched the trash truck take it away. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 2 nights later, my phone rang. Blocked number. I answered half asleep. A crackle of static. Then, "Daniel, we miss you." I dropped the phone. No caller ID. No voicemail. Just that voice again. I tried turning my phone off. It turned itself back on. I factory reset it. The call came again that night. 3:12 a.m. "Don't throw us away," it said. "We remember everything." I started leaving lights on, playing music, anything to drown it out. But it didn't matter. The signal always came back. Always at 3:12. And always with a new message. Last night, it said something different. "Come downstairs." I live alone. My apartment is small, 1 floor, no basement. So when the voice told me to come downstairs, it made no sense. But I got out of bed anyway. I crept into the hallway, every light on. The air was cold, wrong. Still, the radio wasn't there. I had thrown away, but the voice was in the air now, in the static buzzing from my phone speakers, the hum in the fridge, even the faint buzz of the ceiling light. It whispered again, "Come out." Then I saw something. The hallway closet was open a crack. That door never opened on its own. I stepped closer. There was a hole in the floor, about the size of a manhole, where the boards had been ripped away. Black and deep. I'd never noticed it before. The voice hissed from below. "We are waiting." I backed away, slammed the closet door. I didn't sleep. I sat in the bathtub with the lights on and a pair of headphones blasting music. But the whispers bled through. That morning, the closet was sealed again. Nole. Perfect floorboards. As if nothing happened. I tried to convince myself it was a dream. But that night, I got another call. 3:12 a.m. The voice didn't whisper this time. It screamed, "You left US." My windows rattled. Lights flickered. My ears rang for an hour afterward. The voice changed after that. It got clearer, fuller, no longer a disembodied whisper. It sounded like a man. Angry, hurt. And then came the photos. My phone lit up with images I never took. Pictures of me sleeping. Dozens of them. My face from different angles. Some close enough to see my eyelashes. Some with my eyes half open. I live alone. The next night, the voice didn't ask. It commanded, "Let us in." I locked every door. Bolted every window. Still, I heard footsteps on the hardwood. Not inside. Underneath. Scraping along the foundation. Nails against the floorboards. Then one final whisper through my phone. "We're already here." The next morning, I packed a bag and left. Didn't tell anyone. Didn't lock up. Just walked out. I drove 4 hours north to a friend's cabin. No internet. No electricity. No phone signal. It felt like the only place left where the signal couldn't reach me. The first night, there was quiet. For the first time in weeks, I fell asleep without waking at 3:12. I thought maybe I'd finally broken free. But on the second night, I dreamed. In the dream, I was back in my apartment. The old radio sat on the floor in front of me, gutted and broken. But it was still glowing, still humming. I heard voices, not just one now. A chorus, all whisper my name. "Daniel, Daniel, Daniel." Then one voice cut through the others. It was a child's. "You shouldn't have turned us off." I woke up with a nosebleed. That morning, I went outside to get firewood and found a cardboard box on the porch. No address. No shipping label. No tracks in the snow. I opened it slowly. Inside was the radio. The same one. Same scratches on the knob. Same dent on the corner. And it was on. I didn't plug it in. Didn't even bring it inside. But the amber light glowed in the snow, soft and steady. I slammed the lid shut and buried the whole thing behind the cabin. That night, I dreamed again. But this time, I didn't see the radio. I saw a hallway, long and dimly lit. At the end was a door, wide open, and in the doorway stood me, or something wearing me. Its eyes were black pits, its jaw unhinged, and from its throat came the low, distorted hum of the radio's static. I tried to wake up, but I couldn't. The thing raised a hand. "We only needed your voice," it said. "Now we have it." I woke up choking, my throat raw, my voice gone. No sound came out when I screamed. The only noise in the room was the faint, familiar hum. I haven't spoken since. Not because I don't want to, because I can't. My voice is gone, ripped out somehow, stolen. The doctor said it's psychogenic aphonia, trauma-induced, suggested therapy, rest. But I know better. It wasn't trauma. It was them. The radio followed me. After I buried it, after I left the cabin and came back to the city, it was waiting. In my apartment, sitting neatly on the kitchen table, plugged in, buzzing faintly. I didn't go near it. I just stared, frozen, and that's when it spoke again. Not aloud. In my head. "We like your silence." I ran to a motel that night, but the static followed. It crackled from the bathroom light, from the old TV set, even from the air conditioning unit. Every hum, every buzz now sounds like them. 1,000 whispers buried in white noise. One night, I tried recording it. Set my phone on the bedside table. Slept with it on, voice memo running. In the morning, I listened. For the first few hours, just silence. Then static. Faint at first. Then a voice mine. But I never spoke. The recording was of me, whispering things I don't remember. Things I would never say. Let them in. Don't fight. We are the signal. And at the end, we are Daniel now. I deleted the file. Threw my phone into a lake. Bought a new one. Burner. No ups. No internet. But still, 3:12 a.m. The screen lights up. The voice returns. It always finds me. I tried writing letters to friends, telling them what's happening. But every time I read them back, the words have changed. Not my handwriting anymore. Just one phrase repeated again and again. This is how we spread. I burned the letters. Now I write only in my head. And even that doesn't feel safe anymore. Last night, I saw my reflection in the microwave door. It didn't blink when I did. It didn't mouth my scream. It just smiled. And from behind my reflection, I saw the radio. On the counter, glowing softly. I smashed the microwave, the mirror, the TV, anything with a reflection. I even unplugged the fridge after the static started coming from inside it. But the radio, God, the radio, it doesn't need wires, or speakers, or sound. It is the signal. Last night, I woke to find the old radio beside my bed again. No cord, no plug, but the dial was turning on its own. Tick, tick, tick. The glow pulsed with each notch, like a heartbeat. And then came the voice. Clear, calm, familiar. Daniel. I didn't answer. Couldn't. You're making this harder than it has to be. I stared at it, chest tight, silent. You could have joined us. You were chosen. I reached for the hammer I keep beside the bed. Swung it down, but the radio wasn't there. It was across the room now. Still glowing. Still humming. Still watching. I screamed, but no sound came out. The room went cold. And then I felt it, like someone was standing behind me, breathing against my neck. A weight pressing into my shoulders, pulling me back. I spun around. No one, but the static was louder now, buzzing through the walls, vibrating the floor, bleeding into me. My nose started to bleed again, and I heard it whisper, this time not from the radio, but from inside my own ears. Let go. Let us speak. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was sitting at the kitchen table, the radio in front of me. The voice recorder on my phone was open. For hours long, I don't remember recording anything. But when I hit play, I heard my voice. Only it wasn't me. It said things I don't want to repeat. Names, locations, descriptions of people I've never met. Like I was broadcasting. Like I become their transmitter. And at the end of the file, static. Then, one final sentence. Now you're the radio. I haven't left my apartment in days. I don't trust myself anymore. Sometimes I catch myself whispering while I sleep, into the air, into the vents, into the mirror. I've set up cameras. I've watched the footage. I talk to them. I don't know what I'm saying, but my mouth moves and my eyes, God, my eyes, they don't look like mine anymore. The glow is in me now. I see it in my pupils when the lights flicker. I feel it in my throat when the static hums in the walls. I smashed the old radio into pieces. Didn't help, because it wasn't the device. It was the frequency. And now, I think it's inside me. Every day at 3:12 a.m., I broadcast. I don't remember doing it, but the evidence piles up. I found notes on my desk in handwriting that isn't mine. Names, phone numbers, messages that read, ready for signal, new receiver activated. I tried calling one of the numbers once. A woman answered. Before I could say a word, she said, "Daniel, I've been waiting," then hung up. The network is growing. We're not alone. I'm not alone. I hear the voices all the time now, like a low-frequency choir. Always there, beneath the hum of the fridge, behind the buzz of the lights, even in the silence between breaths. They say things like, "We've always been here. The others are listening. You opened the door." And maybe I did. Maybe buying that radio was never a coincidence. Maybe I was chosen. Or maybe I was already marked before I even heard the first whisper. Last night, I dreamed again. This time, the hallway was full of doors. And behind each one, someone like me. Eyes glowing. Mouths whispering. Hands reaching for the dial. And at the end of the hall was a mirror. In it, I saw myself. Or something wearing me. It smiled. Spoke with my voice. Broadcast complete. Tonight, I broke every speaker, burned every wire. Doesn't matter. The voice is still in my head louder now. Clear. At 3:12 a.m., I know what's coming. I'll open my mouth, and the broadcast will begin. If you're hearing this, if your lights flicker, if your phone hums, if your radio says your name, don't answer. Don't listen. Don't become one of us. Drop of Blood Story 5. The basement door wasn't there yesterday. The door appeared on a Thursday. I know how that sounds. Crazy, impossible, but I'm telling you the truth. There was no door in that hallway when I moved in. Just smooth white walls and the hardwood floor that creaked in 3 distinct places. But that morning, there it was. A wooden door, painted dull gray, with an old brass handle. No markings. No fram. Just wedged awkwardly between the kitchen and the bathroom like it had always belonged. I stood staring at it for a solid minute, heart thudding. I even ran my hand along the wall beside it, where there used to be a crooked family photo I hung up my first week here. The nail was gone. The wall was seamless now. The door didn't match anything else in the apartment. Not the hardware, not the paint, not even the grain of the wood. It was wrong. Completely wrong. I knocked on it. Hello. No hecho. Then I turned the knob. Locked. I don't know why, but I felt relieved. Like the lock was protecting me, not keeping me out. I texted my landlord. Asked if there'd been construction or renovation. He replied a few minutes later. What door? I sent a photo. No response. I went to bed thinking I must be tired. Stressed. Maybe I never noticed the door before. Maybe I was losing it. But that night, just after 2 a.m., I woke to a click. The sound of a turning lock. I sat up in bed, heart hammering. Then came the creak of a door swinging slowly open. I didn't get up. I didn't move. I just lay there, frozen, staring down the dark hallway toward where the door was. I couldn't see it from my bed, but I heard it. A soft, shuffling sound. Something coming up the stairs. My apartment doesn't have stairs. Not until that door appeared. I sat there in the dark, listening. The shuffling grew louder. Not fast, not aggressive, just steady. Like bare feet dragging up wooden steps. I should have gotten up. Should have slammed the door, called someone, done something. But I didn't. I stayed frozen until the sound stopped. Then silence. I waited for hours. Eventually, I fell asleep. Don't even remember how. Just remember jerking awake when sunlight streamed through the blinds. I ran to the hallway. The door was shut. Still gray. Still locked. No scratches. No signs of movement. I checked the floor. No footprints, no dust. But the air smelled different. Like dirt. And something older. Veta. I texted my landlord again. That weird door? Someone came through it. He didn't answer. When I called, it went straight to voicemail. I didn't go to work that day. Couldn't focus. Every sound in the apartment made me jump. The fridge hum, the tick of the clock, my own breath. That evening, I tried to ignore it. Cooked dinner, watched reruns with the volume too high, but I kept glancing toward the hallway. The door just sat there, quiet, waiting. At midnight, I taped a note to it. It said, "Who are you?" Then I pushed my dresser in front of the door. Just in case. I slept with the bedroom light on. Around 3 a.m., I woke again. No click this time. Just a soft knock. 3 taps. Then silence. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Minutes passed. Then I heard paper crinkling. When I checked in the morning, the dresser was slightly moved. Not much, but enough to tell someone had pushed back. And my note? It was gone. In its place, a new one, written in black ink on the wall beside the door. I live here too. I stared at the message for a long time. I live here too. The handwriting was jagged, uneven, like it had been written quickly or by someone who wasn't used to writing. I tried scrubbing it off. Water, cleaner, even a magic eraser. It wouldn't fade. That afternoon, I asked the neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Halpern, if she noticed anything strange. Doors, noises, people coming or going. She just squinted at me. "You live alone, don't you?" "Yeah, why?" She hesitated. "Heard footsteps in your place last night. Heavy ones. Thought maybe you had company." I didn't. That night, I left my phone recording in the hallway. A simple voice memo app. Just hit record and went to bed. I woke up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. Groggy. Heavy. I checked the recording. It started quiet. Just normal house creaks, the fridge kicking on distant traffic. Then, around 2:47 a.m., footsteps. Slow. From the other side of the door. Then the sound of the lock turning. The door creaked open. A pause. Then breathing. Not near the phone, over it. Like someone crouched down and just breathed into the mic for over a minute. Then a whisper. Soft. Male. Close. Stop locking my door. The door slammed. The breathing stopped. I deleted the recording. But I couldn't delete the fear. I didn't sleep at all the next night. I sat up with a kitchen knife, facing the hallway, daring it to open again. It didn't. The night after that, I dozed off and woke to find the door wide open. Inside, stairs led down into complete blackness. No sound, no movement, but it smelled awful, like rotting wood and wet meat. I couldn't make myself move. Just stood there in my pajamas, staring into the dark, my hand shaking on the wall. Then something at the bottom shifted, and a voice called up, "Come meet your roommate." I slammed the door shut, locked it, pushed the dresser back in front, even shoved a chair under the knob. I didn't sleep, just sat on the floor across the hallway, knife in hand, watching the door like a hawk. It didn't move, but I heard breathing on the other side. For hours. When morning came, I thought about calling the cops. But what would I say? Hey, there's a mysterious door in my hallway that leads to a basement I never had, and someone lives down there. No way they'd believe me. I decided to check the building's blueprints instead. City records, permits, anything. According to the official plans, my unit doesn't have a basement. No underground storage. No crowd space. Nothing. I even called a contractor friend and had him come by. He scanned the wall where the door was. "Looks solid," he said. "No foundation access here. If there's a basement, it's not on any records. You sure you're feeling okay?" I didn't press him. That night, I set up my phone again, this time with video, pointed it straight at the door. I stayed up until 3 a.m., then finally passed out on the couch. In the morning, I checked the recording. The door didn't move, but at 3:12 a.m., the screen flickered, and then something stepped in front of the camera. Not from the hallway, from the side. Out of frame. Just feet. Bare, dirty, twisted. It stood there for 10 full minutes. Not moving, just watching the door with me. Then it stepped away. When I paused the video and cranked up the brightness, I saw something else. Just for a frame. The door wasn't closed. It was slightly ajar, and a pale, smiling face peered out from the shadows behind it. That day, I tried leaving the apartment. But the hallway outside was gone, replaced with another door. Same wood, same dull gray paint. Now both ends of the hallway had one. And I swear I heard voices on the other side, laughing, waiting. I'm trapped. No matter which door I open now, the front, the back, even the bathroom closet, I only see stairs going down. Endless wooden steps that creak and groan. No light, no railing, just a black, yawning descent. I tried walking up the steps, didn't matter. I still ended up back in my apartment at the hallway. I even smashed a window and tried to climb out. Behind the glass, more stairs. My apartment is now a prison made of doorways, each one leading down, each one whispering to me. They say things like, "He's hungry. You owe rent. You left the door open." Sometimes I hear others down there, crying, begging, whimpering like animals. Sometimes I hear my own voice calling up from below. I tried ignoring them. I stopped checking the doors. Stopped setting up my phone. Stopped sleeping. Didn't help. Last night, I woke up on the stairs. Halfway down, barefoot. The door at the top slammed shut before I could turn around. Pitch black. I stumbled upward, heart pounding, scraping my knees and elbows. I must have screamed, but no sound came out. When I finally reached the top, there was no door. Just wall. Smooth gray wall. I pressed my palms against it, sobbing. I couldn't feel the seams. Couldn't even feel the edges. Then the voice came, right in my ear. "You can't live upstairs forever." I blacked out. Woke up in bed. Lights on. Apartment normal. But now the gray door is open again. Just standing there, waiting. And on the floor beneath it, someone has left me something. A rusty key. And a note written in my own handwriting. "Feed him." I haven't touched it. Not yet. But the crying downstairs is getting louder. More desperate. And I'm starting to feel something stir inside me, like hunger. Not mine. His. I haven't left the couch in 2 days. The key still lies on the floor, right where it was left. I won't touch it. I can't. But every time I look away, it's closer. First, it moved a few inches. Then it was on the rug. Last night, I found it on the coffee table beside a glass of water I didn't pour. I threw it across the room. This morning, it was in my pocket, along with another note. Tonight, the door is open wider now. The air that drifts out is colder. Damp. Smells like mold and copper and something sweet like rotting fruit. I've started hearing him move. Not the stairs in the walls. Thumping. Dragging. Sniffing. Sometimes he scratches, like long fingernails against drywall. Sometimes he whispers in a voice too deep to be human. Sometimes he growls. The hunger has grown unbearable. It gnaws at me like a parasite, like something infesting me. It isn't mine, I know that now. It's his. But the longer I resist, the more I feel him inside me. Twisting, curling like smoke in my lungs. Last night, something new happened. The lights flickered, and when they came back on, there was someone standing in the hallway. A boy, no older than 10. Pale, thin. He pointed at the open door. "I heard him calling," he said. "I heard him say your name." I didn't move. I couldn't. The boy stepped closer, barefoot on the cold floor. "He's lonely," he whispered. "You promised you'd feed him." Then he turned and walked down the stairs. Into the dark. The crying stopped after that. But now, I hear chewing. Vet. Rhythmic. Satisfied. And I swear I can feel in my teeth. Like I'm the one doing it. Like I've already fed him. And just don't remember how. I think I'm slipping. Time doesn't move right in here anymore. I'll blink and it's night. Or I'll sit for hours and the clock never changes. I haven't eaten in days. But I don't feel hunger. Not mine anyway. The key is gone now. I woke up with a sore throat and copper taste in my mouth. And found bite marks on my fingers. Small. Human. Not mine. There's another note on the fridge now. Good boy. I tore it down. Burned it in the sink. Smoke poured out, thick and black, and smelled like hair. The stairs are louder. Thumping. Every night at 3:13 a.m. sharp. Not footsteps now. Crawling. He doesn't hide anymore. He breathes just beyond the threshold. Close enough I can hear the wet sound of his tongue sliding across his lips. I don't know what he looks like, but I can feel him. Huge. Wrong. All ribs and skin and fingers too long. Eyes too many. He's not human. Maybe he never was. I think the apartment is shrinking. Every room feels tighter, like the walls are folding inward. I woke up today and the bathroom mirror was gone. Just a blank wall where it used to be. And written in black, scrawled across the tiles. You're almost ready. I screamed until my throat gave out. Not because of the message, because I saw something in the reflection of the window. Someone behind me. Tall, gray, smiling. He whispered something I barely caught. The upstairs rent is due. Then he vanished. I don't remember unlocking the basement door, but it's open now, wide, and I swear I heard someone whispering my name from the bottom. Not with hunger, but with affection. Like he's proud. Like he's finally calling me home. I'm going down tonight. I think I always was. I've left the door open. I've stopped resisting. Because now I remember. I was the first tenant. I locked him down there. I made the door. And now, after all this time, I'm ready to go back. Drop of Blood Story 6. The thing in my roommate's group chat. It started with a group chat. 4 of us shared a place off campus. Me, Marcus, Jenna, and Luis. We weren't super close, but we got along well enough. Had a shared grocery list, rent reminders, memes, the usual. Then one night, a 5th person joined. Their name was just a fifth. No profile pic. No status. At first, we thought someone had accidentally added a number. Happens, right? I messaged the group. Anyone know who this is? No answer. Marcus said, not me. Thought maybe one of y'all. Luis responded with a shrug emoji. Jenna didn't say anything. We waited, watching. The dot person didn't reply. Didn't type. Didn't even read the messages. We joked about it. Made memes, called them ghosts. Later that night, someone sent a message from the dot account. I'm still here. We thought it was a prank. Luis said, okay, which one of you made a burner account? No one confessed. I tried calling the number linked to the account. Straight to voicemail. No name, just static on the recording. I felt unsettled. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I glanced at my phone, I felt like I was being watched. Around 3 a.m., another message came in. I see you all. Then a picture. Blurry. Dark. Taken from the hallway outside my bedroom. I sat straight up in bed. The door was closed. I ran to it, opened it, turned on every light. No one. I went back to my phone. The picture was gone. The message too. Only thing left from the dot account was a single line. You shouldn't have looked. The next morning, no one believed me. Luis said I probably dreamt it. Marcus insisted it was just a hacker trolling us. Jenna didn't say anything. Just gave me this weird look like she wanted to say something but couldn't. I showed them my phone. The messages were gone. No record of the dot user. Not even in the group settings. Like they'd never been there. I swear I didn't imagine it. That afternoon, Jenna pulled me aside in the kitchen. I saw the message too, she whispered. The one from the hallway. I just didn't want to freak the guys out. I asked if she saved it. She shook her head. It was gone by morning. Then she rolled up her sleeve. A scratch ran down her forearm. Deep and raw. What happened? I asked. Her eyes darted toward the hallway. Something was at my door last night. We decided to keep it between us. Just in case. But things got weirder fast. Luis started sleepwalking. First night, I caught him standing at the edge of the living room, facing the wall. Eyes closed. Mouth moving. I shook him awake. He didn't remember a thing. The next night, Marcus woke up screaming. Said someone had been sitting on his chest, whispering numbers into his ear. When he told us what they were, I froze. It was the same number that had been attached to the dot account. We all agreed to delete the group chat. Start fresh. New chat. No weird users. Just the 4 of us. We even renamed it. No ghosts allowed, smiling face with sunglasses. It worked. For 2 days. Then at 3:14 a.m., I got a notification. Added you to a group. Same name. Same chat icon. Same message history. It reappeared. The first message blinked onto the screen. I never left. Then another photo. This time, it was all of us, sleeping in our rooms. Taken from inside the house. We tore the house apart. Checked every window, every door, every closet, drawer, crawl space. Nothing. No signs of entry. No footprints. No camera. Nothing missing. But someone had been inside. We knew it. Jenna wanted to call the cops. Luis talked her out of it. What are we going to tell them? He asked. A ghost joined our group chat and took pictures of us. We all agreed to sleep in the living room that night. Safety in numbers. No one slept. Every time one of us dozed off, our phones buzzed. The dot user would send messages, one at a time. Wake up. It's getting closer. Who invited him in at 3:33 a.m. It sent another picture. This one was in the living room. It had been taken seconds before. We were all in the shot, asleep. And in the corner of the image, just behind Marcus's chair, was a figure. Tall, thin, blurred, but you could make out the grin. Too wide, too many teeth. Jenna screamed. When we looked up, there was nothing behind Marcus. But the smell hit us. Rotting flowers. Earth. Vet fur. We left the house that night. Slept in Luis's car. No one spoke. The next day, we tried deleting the chat again. Blocked the dot account. Reset our phones. Changed passwords. It didn't help. Every night, the group came back. Sometimes we'd get messages in our phone's notes apps. Sometimes they'd appear mid-conversation on other chats, interrupting us with static or a flickering emoji. Once, Marcus's alarm went off and the label said, "Is here." Then Jenna stopped coming home. Just vanished one night after a shift. No calls, no texts, but the chat said, "Has her now." The next night, it sent us her photo. Eyes open, but there was something behind them. Watching, we filed a missing persons report. The police searched everywhere. Her work, her usual bus route, friend apartments. Nothing. They didn't find her phone, either. But the group chat kept getting messages from it. "It's nice down here," one read. "I don't need light anymore." Luis lost it. He smashed his phone with a hammer in the driveway. Then he took off. Didn't say goodbye. Just threw a duffel in his back seat and sped off down the highway. Marcus and I haven't heard from him since. I bought a burner phone and ditched my old number. Didn't matter. The chat appeared on the new device within hours. It greeted me like an old friend. "Hi again." Then, "You left the door open." That night, Marcus knocked on my door, pale and shaking. "I think it's in my room," he whispered. I let him crash on my floor. He didn't sleep. Every few minutes, he'd sit up and stare into the corner like he was listening to something. At 2:58 a.m., I asked what he was hearing. He didn't answer. At 3:12 a.m., he turned to me and said, "It wants you next." Then his phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a video call. From the dot. Against every instinct, I answered. The screen showed Marcus, sleeping on my floor, from above. The angle was impossible. It was like the camera was inside the ceiling, looking straight down. Then something moved into the frame. A hand. Long fingers. Skin like old leather. Fingernails cracked and wet. It reached toward Marcus's head. I dropped the phone. When I looked up, Marcus was still asleep, breathing shallow, twitching like he was dreaming. But when I turned the phone back on, the video was gone. The group chat said only, "You watched." Marcus didn't wake up. He just lay there, breathing in short, ragged bursts. His eyes fluttered beneath his lids like he was watching something in his sleep. And his lips were moving. I leaned closer. He was whispering a name, over and over. Not a word, not a phrase, just that sound, like he was trying to speak the dot. Then he stopped, completely still. I shook him. Nothing. His eyes opened all at once. But he wasn't there anymore. His pupils had vanished. Just white, unfocused, and his mouth stretched into a smile I've never seen on him before. He stood up slowly, mechanical, tilted his head. Then he said, in a voice that wasn't Marcus's, "He's almost ready." I backed away. Marcus walked out of my apartment barefoot, not even blinking. I haven't seen him since. That night, I didn't sleep. Just watched the group chat. At 3:14 a.m., a new message came through. "You've been chosen." Then, "You're the last one." I tried turning off my phone. Didn't work. It stayed on. The screen glowed brighter than it should. Hot in my hand. Then the front camera flicked on. I saw my own face. Behind me, just for a second, something moved. I spun around. Nothing. But the smell hit me again. Flowers. Earth. Vet fur. And something burning. The phone vibrated hard enough to fall from my hands. A call. Incoming from... I answered. Nothing but static at first. Then a voice so low it felt like it rumbled through my teeth. "Open the door." That's when I heard the knock. Not from the front door. From inside the closet. I didn't move. The knock came again, slow, deliberate, like it knew I was listening. 3 taps. Pause. 3 more. I backed away from the closet door. Phone still in my hand, fingers slick with sweat. The chat lit up again. "He's inside now." Another photo came through. It was me, standing in my living room, staring at the closet door. Taken from behind. I turned fast, heart punching my ribs. No one, but I swear I felt breath on my neck. Warm. Slow. I ran. Left the apartment in nothing but socks and a hoodie. I didn't stop running until I hit a 24-hour diner 6 blocks away. I sat in a booth and ordered coffee I didn't touch. The waitress asked if I was okay. Elite. Then my phone buzzed again. It was a video. I almost didn't open it, but I did. It showed my apartment door, viewed from the hallway security cam I didn't have. The footage was warped, grainy. The door opened by itself, and something stepped out. The figure was tall, impossibly thin, wearing Marcus's hoodie and Luis's jeans. Its face flickered. Jenna's smile, Marcus's blank stare in my own eyes. Then it turned toward the camera, tilted its head, raised one finger to its lips. Shoo! The video ended. My reflection in the phone screen didn't move with me. It stayed still, watching. I dropped the phone. It slid across the table. The screen turned black, then lit up with a final message. Is you? And from behind me, just over my shoulder, I heard a voice that sounded exactly like mine say, "Let's go home." I never made it home. I don't think I have one anymore. Since that night at the diner, nothing's felt real. I crashed at a friend's place across town, left my phone behind, bought a burner, didn't tell anyone where I went. Didn't matter. The chat still found me. New number, new SIM, new phone, same name. Duh. Same first message. Where did you go? Followed by a selfie of me, asleep on the couch. It wasn't taken by my friend. He swore no one came in. No one even knocked. I started seeing things in reflections, glimpses of myself, moving wrong. Delayed, warped, smiling when I wasn't. I smashed every mirror in the house. Didn't help. One night, I caught myself talking to no one in the bathroom mirror. Full conversation, lips moving, eyes locked on something behind the glass. I wasn't conscious of it. Just came to. My reflection didn't stop when I did. That was the last straw. I left. Been hopping hotels since. But the chat is always there. Now it doesn't even need a phone. I'll see the messages in fog on bathroom mirrors, in cracked TV screens, in scrambled hotel Wi-Fi names. Knows you. Is close. Is already in. I found a group online, others who had experienced something similar. Digital hauntings, they called it. But none of them lasted long. Their accounts would go silent. Their final posts always ended with the same message. This is the only way to warn you. And then, you're next. Now when I sleep, I dream of the group chat. The screen glows red. The names aren't mine anymore. They're all just dots. A wall of them. And one by one, the dots open their eyes. If you see a new message in a group you don't remember joining, if the name is just a dot, if it says it's watching, leave, delete everything. Don't answer, because the moment you reply, you become the next Drop of Blood Story 7. The face at the bottom of the pool. I used to work as a night cleaner at a private swim club. It was boring mostly. Just me, a mop, and the sound of the filtration system humming in the dark. The pool always creeped me out a little at night. It looked different without people in it. Still, deep, too quiet, but I never thought much of it until the night I saw the face. It was around 2:30 a.m. I was sweeping the tiles around the edge when I glanced into the water and saw something at the bottom. A pale shape, faint like a reflection. I stepped closer, squinting, and that's when I saw it clearly. A face, pressed against the pool's floor, staring straight up at me. Mouth wide open, eyes stretched unnaturally wide. Hair billowing like it was floating, but not attached to any body. I stumbled back, heart racing. The face didn't move, didn't bubble, just watched. I ran to the office and called my manager. He didn't answer. I debated calling the cops, but decided to check again, just in case my mind was playing tricks on me. When I returned to the edge, the pool was empty. Nothing there. No ripes. No sado. No face. I leaned over and stared for a full minute, breath fogging the glass window beside me. Then I saw something move in the reflection. Behind me. Spoon. No one. When I looked back, the surface of the water was rippling now. Just slightly. Like something had just surfaced and sank again. I left early that night. Told myself I imagined it, that maybe I saw a smudge on the tiles or a weird trick of the light. But the next shift, I found wet footprints. Bare human footprints, leading from the pool to the locker room. And the floor around them was dry. The footprints were small, narrow, almost delicate. They stopped at the edge of the men's locker room, then vanished entirely. No return trail, no smudges, nothing. Like whoever made them just walked in and disappeared. I stood frozen in the doorway for a full minute before stepping inside. The lights flickered when I entered. They always flickered, but now the buzzing of the fluorescents felt louder, like they were protesting something. "Hello," I called. My voice echoed back too loudly, wrongly. The showers were off. No steam, just a faint, musty smell like old chlorine and something sour. I checked every stall, every locker, every corner. Empty. But when I turned to leave, I noticed something scratched into the metal of locker number 9. 3 words, jagged and shallow, like they'd been carved in a hurry. "Still down here." I touched the words lightly. The metal was cold, dripping, like it had just been pulled out of water. I didn't finish my shift that night. I locked up and left without even clocking out. Tried to sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that face again. Eyes wide, lips peeled back like it was screaming under the water, but no sound came out. The next night, I told my supervisor I was sick. He didn't sound surprised. Said something like, "Don't worry. You're not the first." "What do you mean?" Silence. Then a forced chuckle. "Long nights, right? Pool messes with you." That was all he said. But I couldn't shake the feeling there was something more. Like he knew something, like everyone who worked nights here did. So, I came back the following night, even though I wasn't scheduled. I brought my own flashlight and a camera. I waited until 2:30 a.m. and stood by the pool. Right on time, the water rippled again, then stilled, and at the bottom, there it was. The face. Smiling now. The smile was wrong. Too wide. Too full of teeth. They didn't look real, too even, too white like plastic or porcelain. And the eyes were cloudy, milky, like they'd been underwater for years. I raised my camera, hands shaking, and snapped a picture. The flash bounced off the water. The face vanished. I checked the preview. Nothing. Just the pool floor. Empty. I tried again, taking multiple shots. Still nothing. But when I looked up from the camera, something had changed. The water was rising. Not spilling over. Not surging. Just climbing the sides like it was filling from beneath. Slow. Silent. I stepped back instinctively. A moment later, the lights overhead cut out. Total darkness. Only the glow of my flashlight remained, shaking in my grip as I aimed it at the water. I saw hair. Long, black strands breaking the surface, drifting toward me like seaweed. Then fingers. Pale, thin, reaching out. That was enough. I ran. Didn't even stop to lock up. When I got home, I deleted the photos. All of them. Even the ones that looked like nothing. I couldn't risk it. But that night, I dreamt in flashes. Waves of cold. Hands gripping my ankles. Eyes just below the surface, watching me. When I woke up, my sheets were soaked. Not with sweat. With water that smelled like chlorine. The pool club called that afternoon. They were weirdly calm. "Hey," my supervisor said. "We saw your badge scanned in last night. Thought you were off. Elite." Said I came back to grab something. There was a pause. Then he said, "Did you see her?" I didn't know how to respond. He continued, softer. "She shows herself sometimes. To the ones who look too long. You're not the first. Who is she?" Another pause. "We don't know. But she never leaves." He hung up. And now I keep seeing water. On my floor. On my walls. In my dreams. Always rising. The water follows me now. At first, it was small, just damp socks in the morning, even though I hadn't spilled anything. Then puddles in places I hadn't even walked. A slow drip from the ceiling. Though there's nothing above but another dry apartment. But last night, it was worse. I woke to the sound of sloshing. My bed was soaked. The sheets clung to me, heavy and cold. My phone, lying on a nightstand, buzzed with a notification. Pool camera alert, 2:31 a.m. I didn't have access to the pool cameras anymore. My key card had been deactivated. But somehow, the alert still came through. I opened the link. It was a live feed, and I was in it, lying in the pool, fully clothed, eyes closed, water lapping gently around me. But I wasn't drowning. I was smiling. I screamed and dropped the phone, grabbed a towel, tried to dry myself off, to wake up, anything, but I wasn't asleep. And when I looked in the mirror, my reflection was wet, dripping, hair plastered to my face. Behind me, something moved, a dark shape, slithering up the wall like ink in reverse. I spun around, nothing, but the water on the floor had begun to ripple, concentric rings moving outward from the base of my bed, like something had just surfaced. I left the apartment immediately. I've been in a motel ever since. No bath, no sink, no water near me. I only use wipes to clean myself now. I tried staying dry. I really did. But this morning, there was a new message scrawled across the fogged mirror in the bathroom. Come back down. And beneath it, a handprint. Small, webbed, fingernails cracked and black, and dripping wet. I haven't touched water in 3 days. My lips are cracked. My skin itches. But I won't give in, because every time I do, even a drop, I see her. The girl in the pool, always from the corner of my eye, in reflections and puddles. Her face floats just beneath the surface, watching, smiling. The motel staff asked why I keep stuffing towels under the bathroom door. I told them the plumbing was bad. They don't question it anymore. But today, when I returned from a walk, the towels were soaked. Soaked from inside, and the bathroom door was ajar. I pushed it open slowly. Steam clung to the walls, though I hadn't used the shower. On the mirror, a new message. Dry skin cracks. I get in that way. I bolted. I don't know how long I can keep avoiding her. She's patient. She waits. Watches. And now I think she's in my dreams. Last night, I was underwater, weightless, floating. The light above me shimmered like the pool room's ceiling. She was there too, circling me in slow loops. Her hair drifted like ink. Her eyes were milk white. Her smile split too wide. She whispered, "You looked. That's all it takes." Then she reached for my face. I woke up gasping. My pillow was soaked, and on a nightstand sat my old work badge. I had thrown it away days ago. Underneath it, a pool entry slip dated tonight. 2:30 a.m. Same time, same face, same still water, waiting. I tried to throw the badge away again. Stuffed it in a motel trash bag, tied it up tight, dumped it in the dumpster out back. An hour later, it was back on my nightstand. Dry. Perfect. Waiting. So I made a plan. I'd face her. Go back to the pool, but on my terms. Maybe if I looked her in the eye, really looked, I'd break whatever this was. I told myself I wasn't scared. Elite. I broke in just before 2:30 a.m. The place was dead quiet. Same hum of lights, same faint chlorine scent, like nothing had changed. But something had. The water didn't move. Not even a ripple. It looked thick, like glass or oil. I stepped up to the edge, looked down. She was there, closer than before. No longer on the floor, but just under the surface, staring up. She smiled. I didn't move. She raised her hand and placed it against the underside of the water, palm pressing up toward mine. I don't know why I did it. I reached out, the second my fingers brushed the surface. She grabbed me, yanked. My feet left the floor. I fell forward, arms flailing. But instead of crashing into water, I hit nothing. Darkness. Cold. Pressure all around me, crushing, dragging me down. I opened my mouth to scream and breathed in water. It didn't burn. It filled me. Welcomed me. Her arms wrapped around mine. And for the first time, I heard her voice clear and soft in the black. "See? It's not so bad. Stay." Then I woke up. Soaked. On the pool tiles. Badge still clipped to my shirt. Phone buzzing beside me. One notification. Pool camera. Live feed. 3:03 a.m. The thumbnail? A photo of me. Still in the water. Still smiling. I haven't left since. The doors are locked. Not by keys, by something else. Like the building itself won't let me out. No one's come in, either. I've pounded on the windows, screamed into the vents. Nothing. The clocks don't move anymore. My phone stopped updating. I've been living off vending machine snacks and drinking from the locker room tap. I don't want to, but the thirst is unbearable. And when I drink, I hear her humming. Soft, and sweet, echoing up from the drain. She talks to me now, whispers in the corners of my mind. Little things. They never believed you. You belong to me. It's quieter down here. I think she was human once. Someone who drowned. Someone no one noticed. Maybe she was waiting to be found. Maybe she waited too long. Maybe now she pulls others under just so she isn't alone. There's a mirror in the manager's office. Cracked but still standing. I caught my reflection earlier. It's changing. My skin is pale, almost blue. My eyes are cloudy, like hers. When I smiled, my teeth were sharper. I don't remember falling back into the pool, but every night I wake up soaked. Every night, the security feed shows me floating at the bottom, peaceful like I want to be there. Like I belong there. Maybe I do. She said I'd stop hurting if I let go. That I'd finally rest. And when she smiles now, it doesn't seem scary. It seems welcoming. I'm tired of fighting. Tired of being cold, scared, alone. Tonight, when she calls me again, I think I'll answer. If you ever work night shift near a pool, and you see a face staring up from the bottom, don't look back. Don't take pictures. Don't answer when she calls. Because once she sees you, you're already drowning. Drop of Blood Story 8. The man who lives behind my eyelids. He's there every time I blink. I don't know when it started. Maybe a week ago. Maybe longer. But I started noticing something in those tiny flickers of darkness. Something wrong. A shape. A face. Not mine. I thought it was just stress at first. Lack of sleep. Too much caffeine. One too many all-nighters. Grad school does that to you. But this wasn't just seeing spots or floaters. This was a man. Every time I closed my eyes, even for a split second, I saw him more clearly. Tall, pale, hollow cheeks, wearing a suit that didn't fit quite right, like it had been buried with him, and eyes that don't blink. I thought maybe it was sleep paralysis, but I wasn't asleep. I started testing it, staring in mirrors, blinking slowly. Every time there, behind my eyes, his face, closer. The worst part? He never moves when I look at him. He only gets closer between blinks, like he advances while I'm not watching. 2 days ago, I tried staying awake for 36 hours straight. It helped, for a while. But the moment I finally dozed off on the couch, I dreamed of a hallway. Narrow, endless, and at the far end, him, smiling. When I woke up, my eyes burned. My vision was fuzzy. My head throbbed. And for a full 5 minutes, every time I blinked, I felt a breath on my cheek. Warm. Too close. I went to an optometrist. He looked into my pupils for maybe 2 seconds before pulling away pale. Everything okay? I asked. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Your eyes are fine." But he didn't look me in the eye after that. Just handed me some drops with shaking hands and said I should get more rest. That night, I recorded myself sleeping, just in case. What I saw made my stomach twist. At exactly 3:33 a.m., my eyes opened, and I smiled, but I wasn't awake. The recording kept going for 10 minutes. I didn't move, just lay there with my eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, smiling like someone else was wearing my skin. And then, at 3:43 a.m., something shifted. My head turned toward the camera. Slow, mechanical, and though my mouth didn't move, the audio picked up a whisper. You blinked. I slammed the laptop shut and nearly threw it across the room. Didn't sleep the rest of the night. Every shadow looked like him. Every moment I closed my eyes felt like an invitation. By morning, my eyelids were raw from being held open too long. I bought caffeine pills. 2 boxes. Washed them down with energy drinks. Told myself I could outlast this thing. Whatever it was. But the hallucinations started anyway. I'd see him in reflections, blinking when I didn't. Smiling from glass that didn't reflect the room I was in. He started appearing in other places too. The margins of notebooks. Burn marks on toast. Smudge condensation on my windows. Always the same face. Always watching. Last night, I woke up to find my mirror fogged over, even though the room wasn't warm. Scrawled across it in dripping streaks were 3 words. Open your eyes. I was already awake, but when I blinked, he was behind me, just for a split second, close enough to touch. I spun around and he was gone, but the pressure in the room was heavy, like the air had thickened, and for the first time, I realized something terrifying. He doesn't just live behind my eyelids anymore. He's starting to bleed into the world, one blink at a time. I try to explain it to my roommate, Sam. He listened for about a minute before saying, "Man, you seriously need sleep." I beg him to watch the video, the one from my laptop. He agreed, half joking, humoring me. But halfway through, he stopped, paused a frame where I smiled in my sleep, then whispered, "Dude, look at your eyes," he said, leaning closer to the screen. "They're not yours." He was right. They were too dark. Not just the pupils, all of them. Like someone had poured ink into my sockets. And that smile. Wide, unfamiliar, hungry. He didn't laugh after that. Didn't finish the video, either. Later that night, he left to grab some air and never came back. His room's still untouched. Lights off. Shoes by the door. I called his phone. It rang once, then went to voicemail. Except the voicemail wasn't his voice. It was mine, but slow, distorted, and it whispered only one word. Blink. I've stopped using mirrors. They lie now. They show me doing things I haven't done. Smiling when I'm frowning, closing my eyes when they're wide open, reaching out toward the glass when I'm backing away. My reflection has become a second person. Or maybe the first. Maybe I'm the shadow. Maybe he's the real one. There are other signs too. My clocks all stop at 3:33 a.m. The house goes silent at that time. No pipes, no wind, no street sounds, and the shadows start to move on their own. I caught them creeping across walls, stretching, reaching. Not mine, his. I've started taping my eyelids open at night. Painful, yes, but works. Mostly. Until they start to twitch on their own. Until he makes me blink from inside. I visited a sleep clinic today. Told them I was having recurring nightmares. Didn't mention the man or the blinking. I needed help, not a padded room. They wired me up, electrodes on my temples, chest, arms. Told me to rest. I lay there under dim lights, pretending to sleep. But I didn't. Not until 3:33 a.m. I couldn't help it. My eyes closed for just a second, and I was back in the hallway. Same narrow corridor. Endless. Stretching like a throat. This time he was closer. I could see the seams in his face, like his skin was wearing him, not the other way around. His eyes glowed faintly. He smiled and reached into his chest, pulled something out, held it toward me. My own face. I screamed myself awake. But the room was empty. No nurse, no doctor, no lights. Just the soft hum of machinery and the beep of a flatline monitor, steady and slow. I ripped off the wires, ran into the hallway. It wasn't the hospital anymore. It was his hallway. Same peeling walls, same flickering light. And at the end, only now, he was holding my roommate's head, still blinking. I ran back into the room, shut the door, closed my eyes, counted to 10. When I opened them, I was back. Clinic room, lights on, doctors outside the glass. They told me I'd only been out for 5 minutes, but the footage showed otherwise. I never moved, never twitched, just lay there, eyes open, smiling. The nurse didn't want to show me, but I insisted. At the very end of the recording, my eyes blinked. Once, and something else opened behind me. A second pair. I left the clinic without saying a word. They called after me, said I needed more observation, follow-up scans, blood work. I didn't care, because on the way out, I caught my reflection in the polished floor tiles, and it blinked before I did. I'm not alone in here anymore. He's in my head and my bones. I can feel him curled behind my eyes like a parasite, waiting. Every time I sleep, he grows stronger. The world looks off now, like I'm living in a copy of copy. Colors slightly wrong, people moving too slowly. Even sounds feel delayed, muffled. Today I saw a man walking his dog on the sidewalk. The leash hung slack, but the dog wasn't moving. Frozen mid-step. The man's face was blurred. When he turned toward me, I blinked, and he was gone. I don't know what's real anymore. My phone doesn't work right. It only shows one photo in my gallery now, a close-up of the man's face. No background, just pale skin and dark, bottomless eyes. And in the top corner, the file name reads, U.jpg. I threw the phone in the garbage disposal. Didn't stop the buzzing. Didn't stop the blinking. At night, I can't tell when I'm awake. I walk the hallway now. His hallway. The one from the dreams. Sometimes the lights flicker and I see other people there. Lost, shuffling, eyes wide. lids torn open. One of them reached out to me last night. His lips moved, but no sound came. So I blinked, and he disappeared. I think that's what he wants. To erase everyone, one blink at a time. I've started wearing goggles, thick, sealed, filled with saline to distort my vision. If I can blur the edges, maybe he can't get through. Maybe he needs clarity, precision, the perfect moment between light and dark to slip inside. It's working, I think. He hasn't moved closer in 2 days. But he's waiting. I can feel it. There's pressure behind my eyes now. A pulsing. Sometimes it feels like he's knocking. A gentle tap. Top, top, as if asking permission. Sometimes I hear myself answer aloud without meaning to. Kumin. My neighbors have stopped talking to me. I don't blame them. I keep blacking out, waking up in strange places. Once the kitchen sink, filled with water, my head fully submerged. Once, curled in the hallway closet with all the lights unscrewed. Last night, I woke up sitting in front of the mirror, eyes wide, mouth stitched into a grin, and carved into the glass, right where my reflection's heart would be. Only one of US blinks now. I don't remember doing it, but the blood on the shard in my hand was real. There's no escape, is there? This isn't a haunting. It's an infestation. And the man behind my eyelids? He's not trying to scare me. He's trying to replace me. I think the change is almost complete. My vision keeps glitching. Moments of double exposure, like seeing two versions of the world overlapping. One is my apartment. The other his. A long hallway, gray walls, endless blinking eyes lining the floor. They don't close in unison. They never stop. Just flutter open and shut like they're breathing, like they're alive. I tried recording myself again last night. Set up a live stream with a motion sensor. Told myself if I sleepwalked again, at least I'd know. But the feed didn't show me. It showed him. Same clothes, same room. But the figure in the bed was already smiling before the lights went out. Already watching. He doesn't need me unconscious anymore. He's learning. He knows how to wear my face. How to copy my movements, my voice, my breath. I coughed this morning and it echoed from the closet. And when I yanked the door open, I was inside, smiling, eyes closed. I slammed it shut and screamed until I couldn't speak. But when I looked in the mirror afterward, my reflection didn't scream with me. It mouthed something else. Don't blink. My vision's worse now. Lights dim randomly. Faces blur. The clock always says 3:33 when I check it. I think I'm in both places now, his world and mine, and I don't think he plans to share for much longer. I'm keeping my eyes open as long as I can. If you're reading this, don't blink. He lives in the dark behind your lashes. And once you see him, he sees you too. Drop of Blood Story 10. My shadow doesn't follow me anymore. Ukosafitsa no talonin dark. I noticed it for the first time last Tuesday. Late afternoon. I was walking home, sun low in the sky, casting long shadows across the sidewalk. Except, mine wasn't there. I looked down. Everyone else had one. Their dark twins stretched out before or behind them, flickering slightly with every step. But not me. Where my shadow should have been, there was nothing. I stopped walking, turned in a circle, stood under a street lamp just to be sure. Still nothing. I laughed it off. Told myself I must be standing at the wrong angle or the sun was playing tricks. Weird reflection, bad lighting, whatever. But the next day, still no shadow. Even indoors, under bright lights, nothing. That night, I turned on every lamp in my apartment, sat in the center of the living room, staring at the floor around me. No silhouette, not even a blur. I tested everything. Flashlight, nothing. Camera flash, blank space. I called my sister and asked her to come over. She thought I was being dramatic, until she saw for herself. We stood in the kitchen. She gasped and stepped back like I was contagious. "What the hell?" she whispered. "It's like the light doesn't even touch you." She left soon after. Didn't answer my calls after that. I checked online, forums, Reddit, conspiracy boards. Found a handful of stories, all eerily similar. They all started the same way. My shadow disappeared, and then things got worse. I haven't slept since. Because the worst part isn't that it's gone. It's that I still feel it. Like something's watching me from behind. Something that used to be part of me, and now isn't. I've tried everything to get it back. Bright lights, strobe lights, standing directly beneath the noon sun like some kind of lunatic. Still nothing. People notice. They don't say anything, but they see it. I catch them glancing down, then away. Mothers pull their kids closer. One old man crossed himself after walking past me. At work, someone asked if I was okay. Said I looked faded. Faded. Like I'm being erased. Last night, I stood in the middle of my hallway mirror with my phone, flashlight shining right behind me. And still, in the reflection, nothing. Except, in a corner of the mirror, just barely visible, was another shadow. Not mine. Not mimicking me. It was watching, still and sharp, as if cast by a person standing just out of frame. I spun around, no one there. Turned back, gone. But something had changed. The lights in my apartment feel dimmer now, no matter how high I turn them. And sometimes, in the darkest parts of the room, I see shapes that shouldn't be there. Curves that don't belong. Edges that ripple like liquid. Once, while brushing my teeth, I saw fingers reach around the bathroom doorway. Thin, too long, moving slowly. When I yanked the door open, nothing. But the floorboards creaked behind me for a full minute after. I called my sister again. Told her I thought something was following me. She hesitated, then said, "Are you sure it's following you?" I asked what she meant, but she hung up. I had a dream last night. I was back in my childhood home, standing in the hallway outside my old bedroom. The lights flickered overhead, casting everything in dull yellow. I turned to look down the hall and saw my shadow. It was standing on its own, no body above it. Just a flat, black shape stretched upright against the wall. It turned its head toward me. That's when I realized it wasn't mine anymore. It had eyes, not drawn or imagined. Real, white, unblinking eyes in the center of that inky shape. It smiled. I woke up in a sweat, gasping, convinced I wasn't alone. The lights were off. The apartment felt heavier. I reached for the switch and froze. A shape moved across the ceiling. Not scuttling like an animal gliding. Slow. Smooth. A darkness darker than the room itself. I flicked the light on and it vanished. But for a split second, the room felt colder. Hollowed out. As if some presence had exhaled and left something behind. This morning, the mirror was cracked. I didn't break it, and scratched into the glass. Etched by something thin and deliberate were the words. "You're almost ready." Ready for what? I've started hearing voices in the hum of appliances. Soft murmurs behind the refrigerator buzz. Whispers under the ceiling fan. Always saying the same thing. Let it in. I don't know what it wants. But I think my shadow left me. To make room for something else. It's not just missing anymore. My shadow has become active. Things are starting to move when I'm not looking, just slightly out of sync with me. I'll catch a glimpse of something shifting behind me, but nothing's there when I turn around. But I feel it, an absence that now feels like a presence. And every night, around 2:17 a.m., the lights dim on their own. That's when the whispers get louder. Last night, I sat in front of my closet door, watching the narrow strip of shadow beneath it. It moved, slowly, like something pacing inside. And then, suddenly, it stopped. Two perfect dark spots formed under the door. Eyes. They blinked once. Then the knob twitched. I ran. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. I waited until daylight, then opened the door with a baseball bat in hand. Nothing inside, but the floor was covered in long, thin black lines. Not drawn. Seared. As though something had dragged long claws in and out of that space all night. I think it's learning. Becoming more than just a shadow. More than just a shape. Becoming me. This evening, I looked at an old photo, one taken years ago with my sister and I sitting on the porch. But my shadow in the picture, it's moved. It's no longer aligned with my body. It's standing next to me, looking down at my younger self with those same pale eyes from the dream. And I swear it's smiling wider now. Like it knows it's winning. I boarded up every window last night. Duct taped the gaps around the doors. Turned off every light. Thought if I killed all the shadows, maybe it couldn't move. Maybe it needed contrast to crawl. But darkness isn't the same as absence. At 2:17 a.m., like clockwork, it came again. Not from corner. Not from under a door. From me. I was lying on the floor, flashlight clutched in my hand when I felt it rise. like peeling wet paper from skin. It lifted, slow, silent, from beneath me. Not cast on the ground, not drawn on the walls. Just a void, human-shaped, detaching from my spine. I didn't move. I couldn't. It leaned over, bringing its face to mine. No eyes this time. Just depth. Endless, velvet dark. It didn't speak with a voice. It impressed words into me. Not heard. Known. You resisted. You prepared. That made you worthy. I tried to scream. It pressed itself to my mouth, and the room disappeared. I was falling, no, floating, in an ocean of shifting black. Shapes passed beside me. Others like me. Empty humans, stitched with fear. Hollowed to make space. And above, towering high, a figure made of everyone else's shadows. It opened its arms wide. Welcoming. This was never about taking me. It was about using me to bring it through. When I woke, I was back in my apartment. Lights on. Everything as I left it. Except now, I cast a shadow again. And it doesn't match my movements. I recorded myself sleeping last night. Had to know what it was doing while I was unconscious. I watched the footage this morning. The first 3 hours? Normal. Just me tossing and turning. But at 2:17 a.m., the feed warped. Lines of static flickered across the screen. The light bulb above my bed pulsed, though I hadn't noticed it in real time. And then my shadow moved. It slid off the wall like it had weight, pooling on the floor. It slithered upward, forming into something vaguely human. Tallerdanme. Leaner. Like someone stretched a silhouette too thin. It watched me sleep, then reached out and placed its hand on my chest. My body arched. Eyes flew open, but not with panic. With recognition. I smiled. A slow, unnatural grin that didn't belong to me. Then, in a voice not my own, I whispered, "We are aligned." I ended the video there. Haven't spoken since. My voice doesn't sound right anymore. Sometimes it echoes, even when I'm alone, even when there's nothing around to reflect it. I've been checking my reflection more often. Not because I want to, because I have to. It's delayed now, like it's thinking. Sometimes it looks directly at me, even when I look away. And in that mirrored world, my shadow clings to me like a parasite. Always smiling, always ready. I used to fear the dark, but now the dark is part of me, and it's hungry. I went outside today just to see if anyone noticed. Crowded park, broad daylight. I walked slow, careful. People looked at me, then through me. One man stopped mid-step. He stared for a full minute, mouth slightly open, then whispered to no one. It found a host. I didn't stop walking. My shadow stretched across the grass, long and sharp, despite the sun being directly overhead. It bent in ways it shouldn't, lagged behind, then surged ahead, like it was exploring on its own. Kids playing nearby froze when it passed over them. One burst into tears. Another said, "It touched me cold." I left. When I got home, every mirror in the apartment had shattered, except the bathroom one. That mirror is perfectly intact, but no longer shows me. The person inside it is smiling, standing still when I move, and blinking at the wrong times. I don't know how long I have left. The thing that was my shadow is growing stronger. It speaks in my dreams, walks when I sleep. It's not just mimicking anymore. It's learning. And soon, I think it will stop pretending to be part of me. It will want a body of its own. Or worse, it already has one. Tonight, it stood beside my bed. Not on the wall, not on the floor. Beside me, solid, smiling. And when I reached to turn on the light, it didn't move, but I did, toward it. Because I'm not casting a shadow anymore. I am one. The end.